Hello, I'm Pat Dennis, and you've tuned in to Creative Elk's Theatre of Thrills podcast, where today I'm going to talk about the film Beast from 2022. Beast is about a man who goes to Africa and is stalked by a lion. That is the entire plot of Beast. It is not a good film, it is not an interesting film, and it is not an entertaining film. The movie is poorly written, and all of the characters are annoying. The plot is unengaging. It is a bad movie. It is not scary. It's fairly well shot. The pictures of South Africa look very nice, but it sucks. It's not fun at all, and it's not scary, and it's not good in any way. The movie stars and completely wastes Idris Elba, who is a fantastic actor and is given nothing to work with in this sloppy and poorly written movie. Co-starring alongside Idris Elba's character is Ayanna Haley and Leah Savard Jeffries, who play Idris's character's daughters. They are also given nothing to work with and spend the entire film being whiny, melodramatic, and really, really stupid. The final co-star is Sharlto Copley, their guide through the safari zone, who also makes constant bad decisions and is really only there to inform the audience that the way the lion in this film is behaving is not the way lions ordinarily behave. He doesn't do much aside from pointing out things that the lion does and say, that's unusual for a lion. Lions don't act like that. The film is about 93 minutes long, and most of that time is taken up by tired melodrama. Idris Elba's character is recently widowed, and before that, he had broken up with his partner. His daughters are annoyed by this, and they will bring it up over and over again. If it wasn't so boring, it might even be comical, hearing these daughters complaining to their father that they are unhappy with how their parents got divorced, while outside the window there is a lion stalking them and having tried to attack them only moments before. None of the characters in this film have any sense of priorities. You know, they're literally getting attacked by a lion while they're bickering with each other about how a family holiday a year ago had gone poorly. And you're just thinking that's really not what you should be concerned about right now. Save the family counseling for when you get out of the lion's hunting area. For now, that should be your primary concern, surely. The only good thing about the entire movie is the lion itself. It looks pretty good. It's some solid CG work. But unfortunately, it doesn't do much. Most of what it does is off-screen. We see a village of people that have been slaughtered by this lion, but we don't see it actually doing it. We just see the bodies. And poachers from the prologue of the film are reintroduced and swiftly killed off, but also for the most part it's off-screen, leaving you with only these four main characters. And it becomes pretty comical trying to portray this lion as this dangerous beast when these two young girls and their stupid father are wandering around in the South African bush really directionlessly, without any understanding of how to survive in the wild, and it just can't seem to get them. The height of this is when Idris is hiding beneath his car, and it's swiping at them and not managing to get them. And then towards the end of the film, there's a climactic fight between Idris's character and the lion, and even then he doesn't seem to get torn up very badly at all. The lion is full-on mauling him, but there's just a couple of red stains appearing on his shirt. It doesn't really seem like the lion's that dangerous, which is a pretty tremendous detriment to it, so far as it being the main antagonist goes. Also, it probably has to be said that the film ends with Idris's character being saved at the last moment when the lion that's been stalking him is killed off by other lions, which is basically the end to Jurassic Park. The velociraptors that have been stalking them is killed off by the T-Rex. And it's kind of especially egregious because earlier in the film, one of the characters was even wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt. So they've obviously everyone's seen the movie, but they've definitely seen the movie. They were showing off its merchandise. But whatever. I guess we can pretend it's them paying homage rather than directly ripping it off. And beyond that weird decision to suddenly end the film by paying homage to a Spielberg movie, it was really weird in just one scene. They suddenly showed Idris's character as being some sort of badass. He manages to catch a snake by its head just as it strikes him. And for the rest of the film, he's shown as being a city slicker who has lost his, ways of being in the wild. So it's very strange that for this one scene, he has the reflexes of a cat and catches this snake and throws it away onto the lion. But it doesn't continue after this. It's not a reawakening of his ability to handle the wild. And before that, there was no real display that he had any ability. It's just this one scene that stands out alone throughout the rest of the film where he was competent, and it doesn't appear again. And so that's Beast from 2022, an overly melodramatic snorefest where the entire plot is driven by stupid characters making poor decisions. I don't recommend it. It's boring and has no real redeeming qualities beyond the lion looking rather nice and the setting of the movie being fairly unique and picturesque. Now, it's easy enough to criticize a film for being poor, and this one certainly is, but what could have been done to fix it? Because I don't think this movie was doomed to fail. I think if you were to have a second draft of the script, you could have really made it good. So I'm going to just spitball here what could have been fixed with the film, because I always find myself thinking this when watching a failed opportunity of a movie and thinking, how could have it been done better, and if I had written it myself, what would have I done? So firstly, make the lion supernatural. This might be the most controversial opinion I'm going to put forward here, but if you're going to spend roughly half the movie having a character telling us how unusual the lion is behaving, pointing out that lions don't behave like this is not how lions behave, lions don't kill like this, lions don't continuously stalk the one prey forever, lions aren't personal like this, they don't set traps like this. If you're going to waste that much time explaining that this lion is super unusual, then just make it supernatural. It doesn't have to be explained. It can be like a Friday the 13th Jason sort of thing, or a Halloween sort of thing, where it's just an unusual anomaly of a lion, where its anger and sadness over its murdered pride has made it become this other thing. But if you want it to be this unusual, non-natural killing machine of nature, then just make it supernatural. I mean, hell, you've already got this lion surviving a car exploding in its face. You might as well make it supernatural. It's not much more of a stretch to our suspension of disbelief. Doing so will allow you to introduce into this film things like plot, character motivation, and themes, which are three things that the film was lacking. What do I mean by this? Well, if it's a supernatural lion, we don't have to worry about how old it is. This means that the prologue at the start of the film showing poachers killing its pride, you can make one of those poachers Idris Elba's character. Just have him be one of the poachers that killed the lion's pride. Then bam, the rest of the movie is set 15 years later. Idris's character and his wife, who is not dead, are on their way back to Africa. It's the first time he's been in Africa in 10 or so years. He has left it, and he's left his life as a poacher behind him. but his wife, who is an environmentalist and animal lover, is not aware of what he used to be. He's kept it hidden from her. And now they are returning to Africa for his first time in 10 years and her first time ever to go on a Kon-Tiki-style tour for their honeymoon. There are no kids in this movie because all they did was introduce boring melodrama. By making these changes, the lion suddenly has a motivation to be stalking this man so specifically. He's not just some random dude in the South African outback who just happened upon this lion, and there's never any reason why this lion is so intent on getting him, and specifically him. It's personal. We as the audience know it's personal, and we understand what is driving this lion. There is a history between these two characters. And by having his wife not dead and not aware of his sordid past, you have some character drama to introduce and some tension to build. And by making it a Kon-Tiki tour, you're introducing 20 or so characters for a good fun body count that can actually be killed off on screen and during the movie. While doing their tour, the bus gets stranded and the lion starts picking them off one by one as they go to the bathroom or as they go to find food or they wander off drunk or whatever have you. And during one of these encounters, Idris's character sees the lion close up and there's recognition in his eyes. He knows that he's seen this lion before. He knows why it's stalking them, but he can't admit to this because then his wife would know what he was. To heighten the tension even further, one member of the Kon-Tiki tour can be secretly an undercover police officer, having flagged Idris's character upon arriving in the country as quite likely being this notorious poacher. He's joined the tour to investigate further and see if it's truly him. He tells the wife that this Idris Elba character is a terrible poacher responsible for damn near wiping out a species before he fled the country, and that he was so bad that he was referred to by some as the Beast. This adds some themes about poaching and the nature of what we consider to be monstrous, because everyone going into the film would expect the Beast to be the lion, but as it turns out, the Beast is a human. Having learned about his terrible secret and horrible past, an argument between Idris's character and his wife breaks out, and they go in their separate directions, his wife choosing to trust her chances better with the undercover police officer. However, Idris stays nearby watching his wife and heroically sacrifices himself to the lion at the last minute to protect them, thereby achieving some form of a redemption arc and ending the film. The lion, having gotten its revenge, goes off into the jungle, the undercover police officer choosing not to take a shot at it. Roll credits. Anyway, that's what I would have done. I feel like it would have been a more interesting story with higher stakes and overall just more enjoyable. Unfortunately, it's not the movie we got, so I don't recommend you see Beast 2022. If you have the chance, I recommend you see How I Imagined the Film Should Have Been, now playing in cinemas only in my head. With that said, thanks for tuning in. I am Pat Dennis. You've been listening to Creative Elk's Theatre of Thrills podcast, and tune in again this time next week, where I go and ramble about another film, hopefully a better one.